I recently presented a webinar titled How Airtable is Powering Innovation at Atlantic Records, UK. We discussed the client's Airtable journey, some top results and outcomes, and gave the audience a tour of 3 high-traffic tools that we built for them. In this video, I want to answer some of the questions from the live Q&A that we didn't get to during the webinar. First, what's the one thing you know about Airtable now that you wish you did when you began using it? I recommend that everybody starting out on Airtable looks at the Formula Playground. I'll drop a link in the description. Basically, it's a comprehensive Airtable base that describes every formula you could possibly want to use in the formula field. Simply going through each of these formulas, seeing all the operators, all of the functions, is tremendously empowering. I remember when I first stumbled upon this years ago, thinking to myself, wow, I now know the entire universe of functions, formulas, and operators that I could need to use in that formula field. Just having that perspective on what the universe of those powerful tools is made my Airtable journey significantly less intimidating. The second thing that I wish I knew earlier about Airtable is that the solution is usually to add more junction tables. Let's head into the Atlantic UK demo for an example. In the webinar, we talked about a finance tool. The process starts with executives setting quarterly budgets. So this is a list view of quarters, and then when you expand the list view, you'll see the hierarchy of artists beneath. Each one of these quarters has every artist. How does that happen? Junction tables. There's a junction between the artist table and the quarters table, and every single artist has a relationship to every single quarter in a new table called artist quarters. It's a tricky concept to grasp at the start, but once you get it and realize that the answer is usually to add more junction tables, it'll be tremendously empowering. Next question from Seth. What would be the best way to share dynamic artist data with external partners? There are 3 answers. 1 is portals, a relatively new feature that Airtable launched that allows you to extend the capability of your base beyond your company by creating external facing interfaces that can be rolled out to outside partners. It basically allows you to create interfaces the same way you otherwise would, but then you come in and when you hit share, you can now invite guest users by adding portals to your plan and inviting them by email. Another way to extend Airtable to external users is simply to share interface pages publicly. You'll see over here, there's another option. You hit share publicly, and now you can select share selected page publicly, enable public sharing, and now you have a bunch of options where you can share with anyone, restrict it to a specific domain, or password protect it. This type of functionality can also be handled at the base layer. If we come into the base itself, you create a view, click share and sync, create link to view, and now you have a link to the base layer that can be shared externally that upon refresh carries the live data inside the Airtable environment. Again, by clicking link settings, you can restrict the visibility of this view by email domain or password. Next question. How do you get internal stakeholders off legacy systems and adopt something new like this? The first thing you need is an executive sponsor. Someone from the top should be championing Airtable alongside you. Next, we recommend filling the white space first. Let's say that you have 10 departments in your company, and 3 of them have systems that they like. Maybe it's spreadsheet based, maybe it's Asana, maybe it's Monday, maybe it's another tool. Focus on the 7 departments that don't have systems first. And then once that concept is proven and the company is using that database as their source of truth and those interfaces very happily, then you start to chip away at the holdouts. Next, scope the projects and get the tools right first. If an important stakeholder or department is resisting change, then you want to make sure that the tools you present to them are excellent from the start. That requires scoping, proper database design, and adherence to their existing workflow. One of the things that Airtable is offering us is the ability to customize the tool to be exactly what the end user requires. There's going to be no compromise when it comes to taking somebody out of their existing environment and putting them in the upgraded Airtable environment. And if once you're able to show that to them, the resistance should explain itself away. Lastly, you could always require that certain pieces of information be put into Airtable in order to get processed. Examples include releases. So if all of a sudden all the meetings are being organized around a release schedule that's in Airtable, you can rest assured that people are going to use it. Invoices. If you want your invoices to be paid, they need to be in Airtable. Approvals. If you want your budgets approved, etc., they need to be in Airtable. These are simple levers that you could push to require usership in your Airtable environment. Next question. Did you build all of this in one base or multiple bases? Your first instinct should be to build an entire company's suite of tools in one base. And only if there's an excellent reason should you spin up another base for another department. Of course, if your company, like a record label, for instance, has many organizations, let's say Warner Music in the UK has Atlantic, they have Warner Records Parlophone, they have Rhino, ADA, then yes, one base per company. But within Atlantic Records in the UK or within Warner Records Parlophone, we're building all their tools inside one base. Next and last, how are you able to collect data on campaign progress, audience insights, playlist ads, etc.? What Andy is referring to in this question is during the demo that is linked below. There's a section where we are in the release detail screen. Let's pull it up. And you're scrolling down and you're seeing, well, first of all, album artwork, but then you're seeing this section called playlist ads, which is going out to a data source and it's finding what playlists this particular record is on, and it's bringing that data into Airtable, saving your team lots of manual effort. This information is brought in via API from Soundcharts. I have several videos on our YouTube channel that shows you how we leverage the Soundcharts API, and I will drop in links to the documentation as well as links to the Spotify Web API documentation for you to look at. And you can use the left side panel here to look up any endpoints that you think might be valuable and start to explore the concept of how you might be able to link your systems with Spotify or your systems with Soundcharts. And that's it. Below is a link to the webinar. I hope you find it valuable, and I'll see you in the next one.